Hello, welcome to the next part in our playlist of videos in which we're going to try and recreate an old computer game from my childhood with a bit of a twist to it. If you've been following the videos up to now, you'll know that the game I'm referring to is this one here, one called Deuteros. These aren't the actual screenshots of it, but if you, as I say, if you've been following along, you'll be familiar with it. There it is here. And it was an old game on the Amiga and I believe the Atari ST. I had it on the Amiga and I loved it. It was just one of the kind of games I really liked. It was very much data driven as opposed to like an action game. And yeah, we this tutorial, this series of videos, is going to see if we can recreate this game, but not so much the game itself, but sort of a multiplayer version of it, but trying to capture the essence of the original game wherever we can. Obviously, going to multiplayer, you're just going to lose some of that. But we're doing all right up to now. We had a bit of a bit of a train wreck in the last video, trying to install some libraries into with the package manager. Didn't really pan out that well, but we got it working. We got it working. So this video, what we're looking to do in the last video, we did manage to get the creation of a user who registers and that they can choose which race they belong to, so whether human or methanoid or something. In this video, we're just going to add on to that to set up the base planet that the person starts on, depending on the race they pick. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Let's get started. Okay, so a bit of a confession here. I don't always manage to make these videos first time round, like as in record them, and then that's it. I just need to do a little bit of post-production and they're fine. The upshot of that is that sometimes I do code and record the video. It doesn't work out. I'd have to scrap the video, but then I have to undo all the code again, and then right, take two, do the video, do some code. Doesn't work out, scrap that, undo it. And it's a shame sometimes because some of the code that I undo tends to be the code I do end up using anyway. So the confession is I haven't totally undone all the code here. So if we go through that first, so you can see there's a few sort of changes that have, we're not starting from a clean slate with regards to the files. So I'll just run you through some of the things we've done. We've created a user controller. So let's have a quick look at that. Yep, that's this. And all that's in there, it's basically just a boilerplate controller, but all that's in there is that when we edit a user, we just run a typical update. Now we've not put any validation in here or anything like that at the minute. This update was for the race selection. We just basically put it in as a request as part of the user update, and it just updates the user record, saves it, and returns you back to your base. So that's the only reason why that file is in there, so I've left that in. The handle inertia requests. Now, I think this was one of the files we had difficulty with in the last video, to do with how inertia handles the shared data that we can pass down on every request. So it does appear that this file hasn't got any changes, even though it's appearing in my git status as modified. Let's just have a look at that. Okay, I can't remember what changes I made, or why is it showing as modified if it isn't? I don't know. The thing is, I do know that this now works. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that's there. So then these are just these two are just to do with the compilation of JavaScript. So don't worry about that. That's probably just I haven't recompiled the things I've undone. The roots web file. Let's have a look at that. Okay, so I'm seeing blue there, so that suggests I've imported something. So the user controller, okay. Yeah, so we added the user controller, didn't we? And we've just added it as a resource here. So these lines here indicate in PHP Storm any Git changes. So I wonder if that handle inertia files has any. Oh, there's loads. I wonder why the Git diff didn't work on that. That's strange. Okay, so we've added all this. This was all from the inertia.js website. No, it wasn't. It was from somewhere else that I found this. The inertia.js website only shows this folder, but I have managed to get it working on the lazy method rather than the static method. Okay, so that's it. There, the files have changed already, so feel free to look at these in the Git repo afterwards if you sort of just want to check what I've done there. If you are just watching this rather than actually trying to copy it, all code goes up to the Git repo at the end of each lesson. So there'll be a link to that in the description. Okay, so that's where we're starting from. Let's just make sure everything's working fine. So what I'll do is I'll just put an npm run watch here. And then have we got a browser here? Yeah, okay. So let's just make that full screen and go to Deuteros.test, and let me PHP artisan. What I've got into the habit of doing is just clearing out the cache every time. Oop, typo. Every time I want to do something that may have been affected by the .m file or a config file, just for my own peace of mind, because now I can do PHP artisan migrate, refresh, seed, and hopefully this will work. There's no reason why it shouldn't. There we go. So let's go and launch the site and try and register. See if we can register a user. Now I'll just bring up the inspect window. What I'll also do actually is just bring up the database as well. Let me just pick the right database. Right. So let's put him there. Okay, so there should be no users. No users. Okay, so let's go to the browser. And we'll do Carney password. Okay, so I'm hoping this all works. Yes, it does. That's just because I've used a dodgy password. So it does. Obviously, we need to style this up, but we now have the selection choice that we can use to pick which race. Now there's only 2 shown there. There needs to be about 9 in reality. Again, I remember doing this, but it must have been on a video that I scrapped, because I do remember going through each of the races and adding them, so I'm so frustrated that I lost that. But as you can see in this config file, we have 2 races in place, humans and proximans, and remember that the start planet is determined by which race you pick, and that's going to come significant in a minute. So let's go back to the browser. I think I should have that full screen really. Yeah. If I pick, say, Proximans, it should clear this modal, which it does, and it tells me set, which means that a race has been set on this user. And indeed, if we go to the database, we have the user record stored, and we have this race ID of 2 stored as well. Great. So now we need to think about, if we go back to the website here with all the different planets. Remember we said that the start planet was determined by those that share the same resources as Earth. So Earth has iron through to methane, and there's exactly 1 planet or moon in each system that matches that, exactly 1. It sort of led me to think, that could be the starting planet for each system, whichever you pick. So as you can see, Atlantic is the start planet for that one, Chiron for that one, and so on and so on. Yeah, like Mari for that one, and it goes on. So all these eventually need to be added in the config file, and then when it comes to choose the race on that screen with the modal, they'll all be there, with really fleshed out, nice and fancy graphics and that. So, but what this hasn't done, although this has set the user parameters, it hasn't set up the base at the home planet for that race for this particular user, and we don't actually have the data structure in place to do that yet. So we need to create that. So what we can do is let's just have a look at the database as it stands. Let's have a look at the models actually. Okay, so we have the body model, and the body essentially it's short for celestial body. So we've got star, planet, and moon. So obviously we can't do it with the stars, but the stars are determined by having no parent. So you may remember that we're using this nested set library here to sort of do this parent-child relationship. So if the body has no parent, then it's deemed to be a star. So that's how we can filter that out. And so we have the body model, which represents the place where you create an orbital station and a ground station for the user. Now bear in mind, the original game, you had one orbital factory and one ground station on each body. So we're going to do the same. So that means we can create effectively a many-to-many, which is bodies to users, and each that join table will become the combination of body and user, and that join table will represent in its entirety the orbital factory and the resource station, the ground station of the particular body that we're associating with. Now, in one of the past videos, the ones I've undone, one of the videos I tried to make for this and done and undone, it did become apparent that a many-to-many with a join table is not going to be enough, and you'll see why in a minute. In fact, I did make some notes on this somewhere. Oh yeah, here we go. So basically, you're going to have the body and user many-to-many table, which I called base. Okay, I call that the base table, the base model, or the bases table, the base model. So that encompasses everything to do with that person, that user on that body, but that includes two installations. So you've got the orbital factory installation, the ground installation. So then I'm thinking, just as a many-to-many table, that's not. I don't think it's going to be enough. It's going to get tricky. So we're just going to create that as two one-to-manys, one from body, one from user, and then we'll work out from there. So that's just a bit of a shortcut based on previous experience on this. So let's do that then. Let's create some tables here to get going. So PHP artisan make model -m, and we're going to call it base. But that base represents the two installations. You need to remember that. So is that the best wording? It was the best one I could come up with when I was going through this last time. I can't just call it orbit because it includes the ground station as well. So we call it colony? Yeah, let's go with colony. Okay. So as we said, each colony has two installations. So we need to create. So I'm going to call them installations now. Yeah, I think that works. So I'm going to create an installation model. So the body and user go to colony. Colony goes to two installations. Now, the resources now, remember that you can have resources in your orbital factory and you can have resources in your ground station. So we're going to need a many-to-many table there to join the resources to the installation, definitely. Now, I remember I had a bit of an issue with the naming of the resources. It wasn't completely obvious at the time. So the resources, let me just check which is which. Elements. Elements is a combination of resources and bodies. Belongs to many body. Yeah. So resource is what we seed the actual name of the elements and the products, I believe. Resources, yeah. Iron, titanium, red. So that's fine. Yeah. Okay, so resource is fine. Resource represents the various elements and finished products, so that's fine. We need to make a many-to-many from installation to resource. So each installation, whether it's an orbital factory or a ground station, is going to have quantities of resources. So we need to create this many-to-many so that for each installation, any given resource can have a quantity in that many-to-many. Now, I think that can be a many-to-many. I can't see any reason why that. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be anything more coming off that table, so that can be a many-to-many. So let's do that. So let's start with the colony. So, what did we say colony was? A combination of body and user. So colony. My apologies if you can hear the Hoover. Public function body. So we'll return this belongs to the body class and we also want to public function, what did we say? User. And so basically, to all intents and purposes, it's a glorified many-to-many, but we're keeping the functionality so that we can extend off it. So that'll be the user class. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so we need to create an association to the installations, but there is two. So it is a has many, but it is specifically two. Okay, so this is going to be a has many. I'm not sure if you can. What did I call this installation? I'm not sure if you can, as part of the has many setup, whether you can actually specify that it's two, or whether we just go with has many and we do that in other parts of the code. But we'll leave it as it is for now. That'll be fine. So that's the colony setup. So the installation, well, we certainly want to associate it with the colony. Let's see, return. I've just realised I might not have put a return in some of those functions. Return this belongs to. Come on. Colony class. Yeah, just let me check the. Yeah, I didn't put a return in. That's naughty. Return. Okay, and then so in user and body I need to put references in there, don't I? So I'm going to comment that out. I don't know why I did that. There was obviously a valid reason at the time, but it just doesn't seem to fit now. So public function colony return this has many colony. Yeah, that'll do, and then we'll just copy that across to the user table. Again, I'm going to comment out the factories. Don't know what I was thinking, and we'll put the colony in there. Okay, good. So that's the relationships. We now need to do the migrations. Just make sure they're set up okay. So a colony is going to belong to the two, what are they? The body ID. Oh, put that in a string. The body ID and the user ID. That's fine. What I like to do, I should really put foreign keys in this. I'm sort of learning how to do that in a separate thing, just to sort of, what is it, the data integrity or something like that. I don't know, I should know that, shouldn't I, really? But anyway, let's just get the actual functional bits up and running. So that's a unique key anyway, so that'll at least prevent any duplication, because we don't want that. So that'll do for the colonies table. Is there anything else we need on that, on the colonies? We could probably do with an identifier to say whether it's the ground base or not. So could just do like a boolean or something for now, I suppose. Let's put his ground, and we'll default that to false, because once you're up and running, it's the orbital one that you always do first. Don't suppose it makes a difference, but anyway, we'll default it to false. Okay, so that's the colonies table. We then need to do the installation table. Oh, no, the colonies doesn't have the isGround. Sorry. Get rid of that. That goes in the installation table. So table integer colony ID. Then we put the isGround in here. Okay. So we now need to keep account of the resources for each place. So let me see what we've got already. If we go to resource model, yeah, again, I'm just going to get rid of that. So that's using the stocks migration. Where's that? Let's create stocks table. So I didn't split it out into colony and then two installations. I just had straight to two factories. It looks like, with a quantity and a ground quantity. Okay. Well, no, I don't want that. I want to normalize it out a bit more than that, so that they can definitely go. So I'm going to get rid of these. I'll get rid of this stocks table. Yeah, definitely going to get rid of these references to factories everywhere. I'll come back to them in a minute. So we do need to create another table. Where my other pen's gone? So we do need to create another table. Let me think. So on the installation, we've got an installation table, a resource table, and so we need the many-to-many for that, don't we? And we can call that stocks. Call that the stock table. That makes sense. So now that we've got rid of that model there, that was a many-to-many migration. That was a many-to-many, so there's no model for that. That's fine. So we could create it again as a many-to-many, actually. Let me think. Yeah, let's do that. So the way I like to do that is I make the model with the migration, call it stock, but then delete the model. So all we're left with is the migration. It's just a quicker way of doing it. So we can delete that. Incidentally, in case you're wondering, we chose not to do the many-to-many on the other table. There is like a special pivot model that you can use to do that for more sort of enhanced abilities on a many-to-many model, but again, I just didn't really want to do that. Okay, so we have the stock migration. So this is a many-to-many, so this is going to be table integer. It's going to be installation ID and resource resource ID. Okay, and again I'm just going to put one of those uniques on there. Just in case. If I have written some dodgy code, at least it'll force the error rather than allowing it through. So what we're saying is, for any combination of installation resource, we need a quantity. The game works in whole numbers, so that's fine. Can't see that any reason why we'd need fractions, so we'll leave it as an integer, that's fine. We'll leave it unsigned. We'll leave it signed. I can't think of any reason why we'd have a negative quantity, but it might just be useful for any compound calculations. I don't know. Can't think why, but it's not going to hurt. I think in the game you're only allowed a maximum of 50,000 of a resource. 50,000 of a resource and 15 of a product, except in certain circumstances. So I can't see it being a problem. Okay, let me think. So that's the stocks table. So what we need to do now is create those relationships in the models. Yeah, where's my models? Deleted. I deleted them? Well, okay, so let's create the many-to-many now. So we're dealing with installation and resource. So we can now have public function resources belongs to many resource. Now, something I like to do when I'm doing a many-to-many table, the default is to just have it as single plural. But I like to do plural just so that it's obvious that it's a many-to-many join. So I'm going to specify the table name here, but that also means oh no, it doesn't matter because I'm calling it stocks. So what I can do is I've lost where I'm working on installation. The table name is stocks. That's fine. And then I can copy this over to resource. And just call that installations. Oh yeah, I have to change that reference as well. Using the same table name. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. I think that is it. I think that's all we need to get going. So let's go to the registration process then, because that's what we need to change. App HTTP controllers user controller, was it? Yeah, see, I was trying to follow a design pattern about keeping things cruddy, as in CURD, and just throwing the race selection up into a CRUD method called update. But I'm thinking it's a very specific method. It's choosing the race and then it's going to create the starting relationship objects and that. And I'm thinking maybe I might stick this in its own method. Um, okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new controller. And we're going to put it in the users folder, and we shall call it let's just call it user controller. Actually, no. Let's be specific here. Let's call it start controller. And then we'll create a actually we can just call it invoke. We'll take that's going to be a request, isn't it? Okay. Let's just go to the web. So yeah, that's for that, isn't it? So we'll just copy that. I don't mind. Oop. And we can say resource. No, we'll just do root post URI is users/start, and then hopefully we can just do start controller, and because it's invocable it should work. Let's just import that in. Yes, that's cool. So now we go to the JavaScript in base. Yeah, so this is where we choose the ID. So I'm going to change this to API/users/start. Oh, I need to put it in the API folder. Ooh. So let's move that whole folder into there. API users start controller. So that means I need to take this out of here, put it in the API one. And that needs to go. No, that needs to go into API. API users start controller. API users start controller. That's fine. I think PHP Storm will pick up with that eventually. So that's the start controller. Post user start. Yeah, I mean ideally it's a patch, but obviously it'll be a post here. Okay, I think that is it. API user start. And oh, we need to put the user ID in there. Now we've got it patched anyway, so users, so that'll be okay. If we're going to follow convention, let's do it like this. Yeah, so now we go to the API, it will be users user start. That's it. Why isn't that picked up on there yet? It must be because I've moved it. Anyway, so let's just see Is that going to work? We need to delete the data, don't we? So config cache. Oh, right. No. Okay. Oh, yeah. I haven't put the start controller is not invocable. I didn't actually put that invoke method in, did I? Public function invoke. Is that because there's no content? Okay, so let's just use a race ID equals request get race ID user save response. If we can get it to the point where it was in the other controller, what did it return in that other controller? Would have just been the user, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so let's just, that's fine. Okay, so let's see if that works. Check my database is empty. Oh no, because the cache, oh, I've accidentally quit my database there. Cool. Let's try again. Oh. Start controller underscore, if not method exists, underscore invoke API users. Is it still pointing to the wrong one? API users start controller is not invocable. Oh, controllers API. Is it that? Yeah. Okay, let's refresh that data. And oh, installations already exists. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is just wipe the data. Okay, cool. So now let's run the registration process again. So I'm assuming if I reload this, it'll redirect me. No, it still thinks I'm logged in. Okay, that's fine. Let's register. Wrong email. Register. Okay, so that's fine. Let's see, I've got my console up here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, okay. User one start. Method not allowed. The patch method is not supported. Ah, okay. So, do I have to specify it as patch in here? I think I do, don't I? So that still should not have worked. Oh, it did work. Oh no, because we already created the user. Right. So hopefully if we just reload the page, we get to choose again. Yep. Click. And we got a 500 error. Target class API user. I didn't namespace the user model. Come on, Sharif. Models user. Right, no yellow lines. No. Let's try again. So if I click that, it's set. Right, so we're back to where we were now, but we put it in a separate controller. So now we can say, okay, just document out what we need to do. We need to determine home planet. It might not be in this order that we actually do it, but let's just document it down. Create colony record. Create installation record for the ground, because we always start on the ground. So home planet is easy enough. We can say home planet equals race where ID equals user race ID. I know I can use find, I just don't know. Just seem to like doing this instead. So what we can do here is say, not first, we can pluck, what did we call that? Start ID. Oh, hang on. So let's do it as a relationship. With start. So that means the race, if we have a look at the race model, yeah, so we can now put in a relationship here. Public function start. Return this has one. Has one body. And I presume on the body public function what do we call this? Okay, so I think what we need to do is specify body has one. Oh, race return this has one this has one race, but we've called it start ID, haven't we? So think, which table do we put that in? I think that's in the body has one. So that's in the race ID, isn't it? The race model. So we've put that as has one. Race, no, race belongs to. Race belongs to body. And I think that gets the start ID. I think that's how it works. Okay, so let's go back to the controller. Determine the home planet. Home planet is race query where ID equals user race ID with start. Is that what I called it in the race model? With start, yeah, okay. First, So the home planet is actually home planet start ID. Create colony record. So that's going to be you know what, I'm just going to refactor this query the other way around. Home planet equals, I want to return the planet body. Let's get rid of that. Okay, query body, and then what we can do to qualify it, we can put a where has, then we can put a race, because a body has one race. Yeah, where has race, and then I can run that in a callback. Where the race equals the race ID. So that will still return just the body. So we can put a select on there. Just get the ID. In fact, we could just put a pluck actually. You know what, let's just put a pluck in there. Do I have to do get? No, first, because I only want the one. Then if we do a pluck on the collection and get the ID, okay. That might say that's ambiguous, but we'll try that. And we'll call that home planet ID. Okay, create the colony record. So then we can say a colony is sorry, I've still got to call base here from my old notes. So colony. So we've got the body, the home planet. Oh, I'll tell you what. No, let's. Okay, we can do it as a relationship query. So let's get that home planet. Then we can say home planet start create. So home planet no, it's not start at all, is it? What is it? Home planet colony. Should be colonies. So home planet colonies. Maybe still smiling after this. Colonies create, and then what we throw in there is, let's have a look at the data structure. We've got the body, we can get the user. Oh, that's it for this. So, we need to pass the user in there, don't we? Okay. And so, just need to pass in the user ID. So user ID equals, and we're simply just going to bring in the user ID from above. That creates the colony record. Let's call that colony, and then the installation equals colony installations, create, and again, let's have a look at the data structure. Is ground the colony ID we've got, and whether it's ground or not. So let me get the right controller. So installation, just need to say whether it's the ground or not. Well, this one is because it's the first one. So we have to specify that. And then we can return the user. Let's return the colony, and we may as well return the installation for now. Okay. Oof. Let's see if this works. So let's go and reset the database. Okay. So let's log out. Register. Oh no, it's this next method, isn't it? So it's this one. Oh. What's happening? Column not found. Unknown column. Oh, let me make that a bit wider. Unknown. I don't know if you can see this, by the way. Let me just see if I can. A bit bigger. Unknown column races body ID in where clause. Okay, I think because I am aliasing that as start ID. So start controller line 22. If you use start controller line 22, so yeah. Where has start? Oh, my goodness. Where has start? It might be that. So body. Let me just check. Oh. Maybe I have to do that. Okay, let's try that again. Let's log out. Let's reset the database. Okay, let's register. Okay, so now let's click one. Yeah. I thought this was going to be tricky anyway. Call to undefined method, body start. Yeah, I think I've got something not right here, haven't I? Let's find the colon code here. So it's the start controller line 22. Yeah, so I think I was right the first time, wasn't I? Body, it's race. I just needed to add that foreign key identity in. So let's try that again. So log out, register. That's fine. And then we pick. It doesn't like me. Oh, add user ID to fillable property to allow mass assignment on colony. Alright, fair enough. So if we do protected fillable equals user ID and body ID, I think that'll do. Okay, that's fine. And then if I click that, what have I done? I've done that. Oh, installation. Try again. Protected, fillable, equals, what did it say? What am I adding into the installation? Installation is ground true. Okay, I think that's it now. So that's fine. So let's try this. Proximans. And yeah, okay, that's worked. So we need to check the database now. Okay, so as a user, I'm set up, I'm user ID 1, so we should have a colony around ID 44, 1 and 44. Oh, this is looking good. So the colony ID is 1, so we should have an installation with a colony ID of 1. Yes, and it is ground. Yes, excellent. Okay, so that is it. That is our registration of the user, selection of the race, creation of the colony, and creation of the installation as well. So that's cool. The one thing I'm just going to do to finish off is move that out of an Axios request and put it into a inertia request. Do I want to do that? Yeah. So I'm going to move the controller out of the API folder. So we're still in controllers, users, start controller. So I need to namespace that accordingly. Controllers, users, that's it. Okay. And then in the roots file, I'm going to take it out of here and put it back in the web file. Oh, this just feels more like how it should be. I feel better with this now already. The request API, so it's just users. Oh no, the whole thing's changing in it. So it's this dot inertia dot does it do patch? I'll take that as a yes. And so inertia requests don't return data here. So what I'm going to have to do is let's see how I'm going to do this. If I just pass this back to that page, it should be alright, shouldn't it? Get rid of that. I think yeah, I think if I redirect, I think that'll work. So I don't really need that. Oh, okay. Oh. Why has it not found it? It's compiled. Oh, no. Haha. I don't want the API, do I? I have done this wrong. What we can do is just make that an inertia. Oh no, no, no. Oh yeah, because I can do it as a post, can't I? Method equals post, and then put a href in there. What was the... Okay, so that this user ID isn't going to work for us. So where did we get that from? The props. That's cool. So that means we can just do user. There we go. It's not happy. Oh, so I have to put a key. Yeah, just need to put a key in here because it's on a v4. So we can just call that race dot ID. That'll do. So let's start again. Okay, yeah, I thought this might happen. We need to... it's a patch, but I think, did we run it as a post? Let's run it as a patch. We should just be able to load that page up again without reseeding it. Okay. Proximans. Call to member function colonies on null. But I suspect the race has been set. Oh, it hasn't. Oh, okay. So, where's that error? It just says it's in the start controller. Colonies on null. Okay, let's just debug. Maybe something's not been pulled in since I moved it. So let's just td request all. Nothing's coming through in the request. Ah, right, okay. Yeah, because I'm not actually passing in the race, am I? Okay, so let's go to the inertia docs. And no, it's the links here. Okay, so we can... How do we pass data? Okay, data. You can add data using the data attribute. Oh, okay, so... so it's just data and then an object. So we should be able to do data race ID and race ID. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so let's pick Proximans. So now we have a race ID, which means it's getting to the function and it has the data we need. So let's take out that. Let's reload that page, and now we should be able to pick, let's put it to console, Proximans, and it reloads the page as an inertia page load instead, which means the user is set with the race. We should also have the colonies, which we do, and we should also have the installation, which we do. So that is it. That is what we need. Great. Okay, that's cool. I think we'll leave this video here. On the next video, we'll look at starting to implement the click system, the regular script that runs frequently. Now that we have a user in a place, we should be able to determine now which resources they can get. So we can do that in the next video. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please click like. Please click subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of video. I know I'm starting to get more into the nitty-gritty of the game now, so it's getting a bit more exciting. But either way, thanks for watching.